Hey everybody, so in this lecture we're going to talk about energy of a photon and how to calculate that for the MCAT and what exactly that even means. So to start with, let's go ahead and draw a model of an atom. And I'm going to go ahead and do that in, go ahead and do that in gold. And of course an atom has a nucleus, and then it's got some shells, right? And these shells of course are going to have electrons in them. Let me zoom out a tiny bit. Right? And of course, these electrons are going to be much smaller than this relative to the nucleus, right? I'm just drawing them really big so that we can see them, but in reality, you wouldn't be able to see the electrons if the nucleus were this large. So electrons are much, much smaller than the nucleus, right? And so the electrons are going to hang out like this. And if you recall, or when we get to chemistry, we'll talk about how this is the Bohr model of the atom. So there are various different models of the atom that we can understand. And this is just one possible model. And this is probably the model that you drew maybe in middle school science, right? And for our purposes here, this model is enough to understand what happens with photons. Now, these electrons, it turns out, are going to have a certain amount of energy to be able to hang out here. So it requires some energy for them to be, for example, far away from the nucleus. And so it turns out that if we were to give this electron some energy, so if an electron were to absorb some amount of energy, let's go ahead and do, let's say the energy is in orange. Or no, actually, let's do the energy in white. And we'll draw it as a kind of an arrow, right? Then what would happen is if this electron were to absorb energy, it could jump up, and let me go ahead actually and keep using the white. It could jump up to a higher energy orbital. So it could maybe, for example, jump up here, right? Now, the electron is going to hang out in this higher energy orbital for a while, but it's not going to be stable there, right? And it's not going to be stable because there's always a lower energy orbital that it could go back to. And in general, things tend to go toward the lower energy states. So eventually this electron is going to go back down. And it had its fun. It had its fun in that higher energy orbital. And eventually it's going to go back down, right? And when it goes back down, it's going to, and actually let me draw the arrow there. And yeah, let me try and fix that to make it clear what's happening. So there we go. When it jumps up, it has to absorb energy. And when it jumps back down, it's going to release energy. And it turns out that the electron is going to release energy in the form of a photon. So a photon is essentially a particle or a wave of light. And when a photon is released, so it'll behave as kind of both a particle and a wave, which is a little bit confusing. There's a lot of discussion about this. For the purposes of the MCAT, we can really think of it more as a wave, but do keep in mind that it can kind of behave as both in certain contexts. And one way, by the way, that we can draw electron orbitals is we can kind of draw them like this. So maybe there's one here, and we can kind of think of the electrons as jumping up from here to here, and then jumping back down. And maybe there's another electron here. And that electron has the opportunity to maybe jump up here if it wants, or it could also jump up here. And again, I want to use the white there. Right? And so it turns out that depending on the difference in energy level, right, depending on the difference in energy between the photon or between the electron up here and the electron down here, or depending on the difference in energy between the orbital the electron was at and the orbital the electron jumped to temporarily, turns out that is going to tell us how much energy is released, right? And that's going to tell us the energy of the photon that's released. So the photon that's released is going to have a different amount of energy depending on where it is, right? And so actually there's an equation that we can use for the energy of this type of a photon. And the energy, which of course we're going to symbolize as E, energy, and we'll say energy of a photon. And that's going to be equal to, a value that we call Planck's constant, which is represented as h, times the frequency of the photon. Right? And so h, or Planck's constant, and let me go ahead and write that underneath. I'll explain that it is Planck constant. And that's actually going to be equal to 6.6 times 10 to the minus 34. And again, on the MCAT, you will be given this number. And its units are going to be in joules per hertz or joules times seconds. And we'll see that those are the same because, of course, hertz are inverse seconds. So joules times seconds is the same as joules over inverse seconds. And of course, frequency is going to be in hertz. And then finally, energy, of course, is going to be in joules. And so we can use this equation to calculate the energy of a photon. This is a type of problem that we might see on the MCAT, very common, right? Because you'll be given Planck's constant, because this is just a constant over here, they'll give you one of these two values. So they'll give you either the frequency of a photon or the energy of the photon and ask you to calculate the other value, right? And I think it's a very, very straightforward and very easy problem if you know what you're doing, if you know how to do it. It doesn't really take very long. So this is one of those problems that's like kind of a gimme problem where if you can get it and you can do it quickly, then it's going to be a pretty big advantage. And so if you were to get a problem like this, you would want to look for either joules, either the energy of the photon, which is going to be given in joules, or a hertz value, the value of a frequency, right? And you want to make sure that this is the frequency of the particular photon they're talking about, right? And you want to make sure that this is the frequency of the particular photon they're talking about. And from that, we can figure out the other value. And that does bring me to an interesting point, which is that we see that these values are directly correlated, right? So as frequency increases, energy is also going to increase, right? And that's interesting. That means that, for instance, a higher frequency photon, so a photon maybe that looks like this, is going to have a lower energy than a photon that looks like this, right? And that kind of makes sense, right? This is a lot more energy is being transferred per second here than is happening here, right? So this one is higher energy. And that makes sense. Now, one final point is that maybe they won't give you, sometimes they won't give you a frequency. Sometimes instead they'll give you values that you can use to calculate frequency. And so we've seen that, we saw that in the last lecture, right? When we talked about the properties of a wave, that there are values that we can use to calculate frequency. So we can use this equation, C is equal to frequency times wavelength, right? And I specifically use C here and not V, right? We said V is the velocity and C is specifically the speed of light. So a photon is light, right? It's just a particle of light. So instead of using V, we use C. But do keep in mind, it's just the speed of light, the velocity of light. And you should be given the speed of light on the MCAT, so don't have to worry about that. If they were to put something like this, instead of giving you the frequency to calculate this, they would give you the wavelength, and they would give you the speed of light, and they would give you h, right? And then from that, you've got all the values that you need to calculate the energy of the given photon, right? So you would first plug in the wavelength into this equation, then you would get frequency, and you would plug it into this equation, and you would end up with the energy of the photon. So fairly straightforward, I think, not too difficult. You could also, for instance, use period, right? You could use 1 over t to get the frequency, and then plug that into this equation. And so really, as long as you understand the previous lecture, you could kind of do the steps required there to calculate frequency, to ultimately calculate the energy of a given photon. And one final point I want to make, and that is that, and we'll talk about this more when we get to the Gen Chem lecture, but it turns out that depending on the frequency of the photon, that will help us determine what type of color of light that is. So, and really whether it's visible light at all or some other type of light on the electromagnetic spectrum, such as, for instance, infrared or UV. But suffice it to say here that different electrons in different positions are going to emit photons with different frequencies, and that's going to determine what type of light it is or what color light that is. And again, we'll talk about this more in a future lecture. But that's all we really need to know for calculating the energy of a photon for the MCAT.